of December. The year is going quick and there's less than a week to go to Christmas. My name is Alisa Tilsner. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia, and today we are going to be looking at some of the new product that is coming up in January. So we have lots of things going on in January. We have the catalog, the new catalog coming out. We have Celebration, which is one of our biggest sales of the year. And we also have a new range of online exclusives coming as well. So we are going to be looking at some of the products in the online exclusives. So we're going to be playing with the mixed florals. So we're going to do a little bit of colouring in. And there's also this is part of a big suite. So we'll just have a look at part of it. And good morning, Tracy. And it's also going to be the theme of my Stamp by Mail, which is a 4-month program. So you can see my blog site on the screen, which is alisatilsner.com. And you can head over. I also have paper share going, Stamp by Mail registration open. So you can go and check those things out. And also you can subscribe to my newsletter, because on next Tuesday, I will be sending out an email with a PDF tutorial of the card that we're making today. So make sure you're on my newsletter list. Okay, let me swing change the camera view. There we go. Good morning, good morning. So just a little tip. Hey, Mary, how you going from the Netherlands? Oh, welcome. So just a little tip. If you happen to be on YouTube on a mobile device, you can actually pinch the screen and zoom in, because I am going to do a little bit of colouring, but I will be holding things up to the screen as well. So let's take a look at the stamp set first. So mixed florals, it's a nice big one. It is big. Don't be fooled by the cover like I was. So I was like planning out my sketches and I'm like, oh yeah, that'll fit there and this will fit there. And then I opened it up to have a look at it, and they are massive. So the images on the cover are actually only 75% of what they actually are. So this is it's probably a bad thing I've already got set up, but that's the difference in sizing. It is pretty big. And then I was like, oh no, what if all my layers don't work? But they do, and I'll show you as we go along. So mixed floral, it is photopolymer, and then we also have some dies to go with them. So good morning, Marilyn. So we've got dies that will cut out all of the images and doubles of the ladybirds, because they are super cute, but they are so tiny. So I'm actually glad that they're not as small as what they are on the cover. They are actually a little bit bigger as well. And then we've got this really cool detailed grassy die as well, which is a standalone in there. So quite nice. There's also paper, there's an embossing folder, and there's embellishments. I'm trying to think, but I'm not going to use them all today. I'm just going to use the bundle. But you will need to have your own sentiments, because there's no sentiments on this one. So I'm going to be working on thick card, basic white cardstock, and we're just going to start off by inking up in our memento, because we are I don't know whether my stamp's got a bit of a dip in it or not, but I need to get that inked up pretty well, because we're going to be colouring with our Stampin' Blends, the alcohol markers. We need a water-based ink pad. And I'm also thinking that this set might be a great one for a colouring class. So this is just going to be basic colouring today, and I have got my foam mat underneath just to give me a little bit more cushioning, because like I said, I don't know whether it's my stamp or whether it was just whoops, and I've put too whoops, I'm doing it again. I want it nice, and I should get the oh, see, I've got just a little patch in there that doesn't really want to ink up properly, but I'll have to have a closer inspection. I only pulled it out to start playing with yesterday, actually. So we'll put that out of the way. Okay, so we can get rid of the mat and we can get going. Good morning, Deborah. How are you going? Okay, so the colours that I'm choosing, there are loads of colours in the designer series paper, but I'm going to choose these colours, which are going to be the colours for my Stamp by Mail as well. So we're going to use Shy Shamrock for the leaves. we're going to use boho blue for these little flowers here. And then we're going to, for the tulips, there's another image which is the, I'll show you them. I've coloured them up already, like black eyed pea daisy type thing. That's going to be done in Daffodil Delight, but I'm not doing that image. That's just one to show you. But I will be doing the tulips in Calypso Coral and Petal Pink. Okay, so if you're able to zoom in, now's the time to zoom in. And I'm going to try and do this as quick as I possibly can. So starting with the dark, and I'm just going to do, I'm actually probably going to be a little bit on the rough side when I do this. So I'm just going to go for it and do all the dark at once. Normally I would do, you know, one at a time, but I'm going to go for it and go fast, except in that little spot there. Okay, just because you could spend hours and hours colouring in, but we're not going to. And this will show you where I've put my dark and where I've put my light. They are quite similar in colour. Now these around here, you sort of need to be a little bit careful because they are all, there's lines going everywhere. And if you're not careful, you will colour in the wrong area. All right, so I'm just going to bring that up to the screen and show you where I've put all my dark. Good morning, Jane. So that's where I've put all my dark. Okay, so if you're joining me for the next round of Stamp by Mail, this is exactly how I'm colouring for that class, for that subscription range. Okay, so please don't be afraid because there is colouring. I know colouring can sort of put some people off, but I'm not doing anything hugely flash. Okay, and now when I'm starting my light, and I'm going very, very, very lightly because I don't want to damage my nibs too much, but instead of coming into the dark and going forward, I'm actually going to start at the other end and bring the light into the dark. And that's because these colors are so similar, the light and dark are so similar that there's not a lot of like differentiation, what's the word? You know, they're not very different. Okay, down here. Here we go. Good morning, Wendy, who's joining us as well. So hopefully I'm staying in the center so that you can all zoom in on YouTube. But I am going to show you something a little bit different. I'm hitting the end of my, I should have cut my paper. As I'm spinning around, I keep hitting my stand. All right. Okay, so that's all my grassy area done. Then I'm going to come back with my dark, and I'm just going to go over some of those areas that I did dark before because, like I said, there's not a whole lot of difference. And if you're doing really light flicks, they will blend into each other as well. This one's at the back, so we'll probably give that one a bit of a heavier go. In the blade there, down here in the center is probably a little bit darker where the sun can't get to it. And you can actually go over a couple of times. Our paper, our cardstock tends to be able to handle that. A little bit behind there. All right, I think I'm happy with that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something a little bit tricky. So I'm going to bring this up. Good morning, Judith. Yes, Merry Christmas to everyone. Okay, oops, I'm not even in the screen. It's because I should have cut this off. Let me cut that off because it's given me a bit of grief. There we go. Now I can handle it a little bit better. Okay, so that's what I've done so far. So you can see I've got the stems of the tulips coming down as well. So you do around this area, you need to be careful with your colouring in so that you don't colour in like the background. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my dark boho blue. I'm going to use the bullet tips and I'm going to get my dark what are we using? Shy Shamrock. Don't like saying Shy Shamrock. Okay, so I'm going to cut these stems in boho blue. Okay, and then I am going to come over with my dark Shy Shamrock and I'm going to color directly over the top of the blue. So I didn't want to introduce a whole new color of green. The two other greens that are in the paper are Granny Apple Green and Mossy Meadow. And both of them are completely different color tones, color ranges to the Shy Shamrock. Okay, so I'll bring this up to the screen in a moment. And again, I'm just going to bring in a bit of blue where there'd be a little bit of a shadowing, like behind being cast from different areas. And then I'm going to go back in with my green just on those areas. And I will bring it up to the screen and I will show you that no one would even know that you have colored blue first. But it does make that stem a little bit darker and separate from the blades of the grass. And the other thing is, when we color our blue, because I've got that same blue toning under the green, it'll all blend together and be matchy-matchy. Okay, so let's do those blues first. So I'm going to start with the dark because these guys don't take a lot. So I'm just literally scribbling in some blue and I'm like literally like that. I'm not just coloring in a circle. I'm just going in a little random doctor scribble. And then I'm going to do exactly the same with the light. So just little scribbles, like that type of scribble, but closing it in so that there's no white on there. You can show white if you want. It just sort of just gives a little bit of texture going on. And if little bits of white show, I don't think it's too bad, especially if you're using the designer series paper because it's got very loose colouring on the designer series paper. Okay, and then because those two are also very similar in colour, I'm just going to come in with my dark again and just do the same thing. They sort of tend to get swallowed up and become one colour. Okay, so there we go. Next, let's get onto our tulips. So we are going to start with now, okay, so my nibs are as dodgy as, like, I mean, they just are really bad, but I do still have ink in them. I do have a dark one, but I'm on my last light and I don't know whether it's running out or whether it's, anyway, something weird's going on with it. But anyway, let's do, oh, I can't use that end, can I? There. All right, let's do the bullet tip and I'm just flicking from the base. It's a bit hard with a bullet tip. Okay, and then I'm going to come to my light, which I can actually swap because my brush is actually quite good. And I'm just going to go over the top and just extend it up a little bit. Okay, and then I don't know that I'm going to use the light, but I'm going to use the dark petal pink next. And I will just fill in those spaces, gently going backwards and forwards. This one is a nice light one, but it will eat out. If you bring it too far down into your Calypso coral, it will eat it out. It will sort of like munch into it. So you may have to, depending on how dark you want your tulips, you may have to go back in and do a little bit more. So again, I've missed a little bit of ink here, but this area is going to be quite dark in there. Same with that one in there. I'm going to do that one a little bit on the darker side. everybody's all quiet. I hope you're all studying the colouring. Okay, so I'm going to fill those little ones that are facing in. I'm going to fill them in completely. I'm not going to put any of that petal pink in there at all. I want these nice and rich in colour. And then a little bit more, whoops, a little bit more of the petal pink just on these front facing ones. Again, I'm going to start from the top and just flick in. If you go over the whole lot, it will change the colour of your Calypso coral. So have a play around. You might really like that. You might, I actually did 2 lots. I did one with a lighter, oh, there you go. You can see that one's sort of eaten in a little bit more. You can, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, you can play around with your combinations. Like if you wanted to make like a lighter tulip, I would get rid of the dark and then just use these 3 colors. So you can get all sorts of different like looks of your tulips just using the 4 of them. So I did one that was quite dark and one that was a little bit softer. And back to this one. So in here, I'm going to pretty much do all dark inside that bud. I know, Wendy, everyone tends to go quiet when I colour. It must just be that watching thing, which I totally get. All right, I'm not going to put you away just yet because I might use you a little bit more, Calypso coral. So we'll just fill in any little areas that I've missed in that deep crevice there, but I will not be putting any of the lighter colour. Let's just give this a little bit more because it got eaten out last time. And then this one here, just to fill in any of those white. And I'll start in the white and drag it back, and I can feel this nib getting soft. Okay, so I'll bring this up. That's what I have got going on so far. But you guys know me, I like my deeps deep. So I'm going to grab my bullet point again and just come in and make these areas a little bit deeper. I'm going to make this area a little bit deeper. This one's not too bad, but I might just pop a little bit more down the base, maybe a bit more behind there, a little bit up there. But because I've done that and now I can see my lines, I'm going to come in with my light Calypso coral, but I'm not going to do any more of the petal pink. And then I can just gently flick that. And I am going to call it quits because I do play a little bit much. Okay, so my tulips were Calypso coral, light, dark and light, and then I just used the light petal pink. Okay, good morning, Kay, who's just joined. And then for a different set, I think it was actually this one here. I'll bring that up. I got rid of that, and then I just did those color combinations. So I did the light Calypso coral and then the 2 petal pinks. So you can see that this one's a little bit lighter and this one's got a little bit more intense going on. So it just depends on how you like it. What you like's totally up to you. You can play around. So other colors that, like I said, there's a load of colors. I just need to make this a bit skinnier to go through my machine. There's loads of colors that are in the designer series paper. There's also flirty flamingo. So if you wanted to, you could do flirty flamingo and petal pink. That would be really nice as well. Or you could just have 2 colors. You don't have to do 3 if you don't want to. But these are the colors that I have selected to do my stamp by mail. So, and I try and stick to those colors all the way through so that you don't have to run out and get extra things if you don't have them. And then I make them work. Okay, so let's die cut this. And I did some, I've done one of my cards already. It's sitting behind me and I've just got the other 2 to go, but I've got, like I said, I've got them colored in. But I've put the cute little, I've done these guys as the embellishments instead, and I've just coloured them in straight Calypso Coral just to make them a little bit darker and make them pop a little bit. All right. Let's get you lined up. Now, when you die cut these, there is still a lot of white background. Okay, and I think I've got that. Oh, go through, please go through. Oh, I had it, got it lined up beautifully and it won't. There we go. Good. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go. And that gives you just a nice little white border around the edge, but there is a lot of white space here in the background. So just bear that in mind as well. Okay, so when, like I said, when I opened this stamp set, because the cover is only at 75% of the images, and I had done all my sketches, I like to draw sketches before I start my creating, especially when I'm working on projects for everyone. It sort of helps me, create quicker. So when I had done all my mud maps, because I've been just looking at the cover of my designs and I'm thinking, yeah, if I could do that. And then, like I said, when I opened them up, I had a little freak out. I was like, oh no, that's going to pretty much cover my entire card. How am I going to get all of my layers behind that image? But I did manage and I did pull it off, and we're going to do something, not one of the cards for Stamp by Mail because they're exclusive for Stamp by Mail, but we are going to do another one that does have lots of layers in it as well, so I can show you what I mean when you can do that. But it'll be the last thing that goes on my card, and we'll see if it works. Okay, so my colors that I have got, if I can pick them up, I have got some, I thought I might not put any of the green in, but I'm going to be putting some of the boho blue. So I'm going to keep this here so that we can sort of get a rough idea of what's going on. So I'm going to do some boho blue. Then I have actually got some of this, the white vellum that comes from the greenery. It's the Christmas greenery one. I've got it here. What's it called? Graceful Greenery Vellum. So that is of this one. I think I've nearly used all of my white from that pack. So I thought let's pop a layer of white in there as well. So we'll pop that there. Then I am going to have, and I've got a massive piece, but it'll work. I'll do it this side. We're going to have some petal pink behind here, and this is how I do my figuring out my layers and my colors as well. And then I'm going to have a little bit of white over there, and then I'm going to have some bits of Calypso Coral just to pick up those bits along there. So that's basically what I'm going to do. And then I also need a sentiment, which I'm thinking that I will probably do in the boho blue as well. So that's how I work out, you know, I could have done that underneath and then had just a tiny little bit of petal pink. But I think just having a touch of the Calypso Coral just sort of brings out the Calypso Coral in the flowers. Okay, so anyway, that's my reasoning behind. So let's work from the bottom and go up. Need my trimmer. So like I said before, if you are not on my newsletter list and you want to be, head to alisatilsner.com, and you will, it's just on the screen there, you will see a subscribe button. And if you are already on my newsletter list, just look out. I'm going to be sending an email out in January. I'm going to try and sort of separate people because I find that, you know, if you're in the US, then stuff that I offer for some of you, you know, you can't get. So I'm just going to sort of start splitting. So when you see the subscribe button now, I'm going to screw this up. You can, you know, say whether you're in Australia or whether you're a demonstrator, because you don't need all the marketing stuff when Stampin' Up have promotions, because you will know them already. So screwing this up, I could have used an embossing folder, but I thought if you don't have an embossing folder that is suitable, or for, you know, something that if you're just growing your supplies, if you're merging from the new and into wanting to step it up a little bit more and you don't have a lot of embossing folders, just screw your card up. It's fine. Don't overdo it. We just want a little bit of crinkle and a little bit of texture. But there we have, and then you just flatten it out again and you've got all those lovely creases in it. And I am also just going to tear just a tiny bit off the top and the bottom. So I've cut this piece to start with the same length as my card, and then I will just, and I know that tearing and screwing things up freak some people out, so, but don't let it freak you out. Oop. Having a bit of trouble getting these last little bits off. There we go, because I'm only taking such small pieces. Oop, oop, oop. Can I get that bit? Yes, I can. Okay, so let's give that a nice pressing now, and we'll pop that on our card. Okay, next layer was our vellum, and I'm just ad-libbing here. I don't know what sizes I'm going to be doing. That's why it's good to be on the newsletter list so that you get the written PDF, so that you know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I need that by about that. And then if I don't get it wrong, then, you know, at least I've stuffed up my supplies. Oh, maybe I'll go a little bit bigger just in case. Then I've cut wrong, and you guys don't have to cut wrong. Wendy says she's getting better with tearing and distressing. It's only taken her 20 years. I know, some people find it really hard. Okay, so I've got my little bit of white, this is going to stand up a little bit because it's got so much crinkle in it. So I've got a little bit of texture going in here, a little bit of texture from the vellum. Okay, now we need our pink. So I will do, I think I will do that by that. Again, I can always go shorter, smaller. I like to sometimes do perhaps a bit more. Oops, there we go. We need to do that again. So a little bit of pink going on. So you're not going to see a lot of the texture in that card anyway, but it's got height. Okay, and then I need a little bit of this. So I am thinking. Thinking. All right, so I'm putting a white layer on here, and you'll see why in just a moment. So I'm going to do that sort of like a Polaroid type of card. And then I just want a couple of little accents, and I'm just going to take whatever this is, I don't know, and I'm just going to grab one to go under here, and then I will grab one to go up the top. I might make this one a little bit shorter though, just for something different. And we'll pop that one just up there. Okay, so really easy. That doesn't take a whole lot of time at all to do something like that. I'm just going to get rid of these, and I'm going to bring this card down so we are okay, and then I'm going to pop this on here. So you can see now that my white background, because there's a lot of white going on in that background, you can color it if you want. You could do it in, like, you could have a little bit of green, more green down the bottom, and then you can perhaps put a soft blue at the top. I don't know, but when I'm layering it white on white, I'll show you the difference. It sort of sticks out a little bit. Oh, it's not too bad, but it sort of is a little bit obvious. But if I do it with a white layer and then do white on white, it sort of merges in because I've got the white showing from the edges there. Does that sort of make sense? It sort of doesn't make it appear so obvious, let's put it that way. And then I'll probably do a sentiment down here. So we've got a lot going on in layers, but not hard. Okay, so let's just take all of these guys off and we can start sticking down. And because I've got so many layers going on and because I've got such a big image, I'm just going to try and flatten this a little bit more. Because I've got such a big image, I am not even going to bother with a whole lot of embellishing on this one. So like I said, for my Stamp by Mail cards, I've actually used the little ladybirds as the embellish. I've just popped a little bit of Winker Stella on them and let them be my embellishment. That's so cute. But they are also fiddly and I'm not going to die cut them here in front of you. So I'm going to put this one slightly towards the right hand side. I don't think I did that when I was laying everything down. So this should sit a little bit flatter now. Okay. Wendy says it camouflages the stark white. It does. It just doesn't make it seem so obvious. So I think that's probably what I will do a lot with this one. And that way you can get all your layering into your card and then just plonk your image straight on top. Because if I was to color that and then just cut it out as a rectangle, it's taken up pretty much my entire card and I can't put any layering underneath it because you're just not going to see any of it. Okay, so vellum I'm going to put towards the left hand side and I'm only going to put adhesive where it's going to get covered up. So I'll probably just do a couple of little strips. I'm going to avoid the edges and just pop it because my pink's not going to come up as high or as low, so I'm just sort of popping it where I know it's going to be hidden, and I'm going to put that towards the left. Try and leave sort of same amount of border on either side, knowing that my pink is going to come over the top of my blue a little bit, so I can go closer to the edge. Hey Lynn, Tracy, good, excellent, makes sense. Yeah, I really like this week. The paper is busy. When I pulled the paper out, I had a little bit of a type of thing. But there are some really nice stripes in that paper and some really nice patterns as well. So I was like, whoa, have I made a mistake here? Okay, let's try and get this straight. So again, going for the little Polaroid style look on this one. Not everything has to be, did I cut something wrong? Did I cut something wrong? I think this is just over a little bit. Too late now. Okay, and then I'm going to pop these guys straight behind this. So I'm just going to work on this little front panel here, and I'm just going to bring these in a little bit. I can't remember how wide I had them on my mock-up, but we'll just bring these in. Oops. Get you rolling. And try and make them pretty even. You up the top. And then I can stick this a little bit more towards the right-hand side, like that. Okay, and I'm going to stick it flat because I do still have some height from that crinkled boho blue. Okay, let's pop it a little bit towards the right-hand side. Okay, and then, so we've got all of our layering in there. I haven't had to skimp on any layering, and some of it's just scrap layering. And then we're going to pop this over the front. And I think I will put it more towards the left, because so now I've got stuff going towards my right. So now I'm going to put this more towards the left, and then I can put my sentiment across the bottom here. Okay, so let's get this done. Normally I have got my sentiment done by now, haven't I? And I'm going to be cutting the edges. All right, because being such a big piece, let's get a few on here. Probably one more. Here we go. Whoop. So yeah, I'm thinking I might do an advanced colouring one on this set. I'm thinking. because as I was colouring it in the basic way, I was thinking, oh, I could put so much more in here, but I don't want to scare you all. If you're joining Stamp by Mail, I'm not going to scare you. All right. Okay, sentiment time. Look at us, where the colouring has taken most of the time. I'll bring this up so you can see what's going on so far. Colouring has taken most of our time on this card. The rest of it has come together very quickly. Okay, so I'm going to use Country Birdhouse because I really love Hoping You Have the Best Day Ever. I absolutely love that sentiment, and it fits nicely just across the bottom here. So let's get that. I'm going to need to give this a wash, I think, because it's getting a little bit on the losing my tacky side. All right, that's it. I've got it. White embossing. What do I need? Alrighty. Bit of Versamark on there. So if you haven't ventured into embossing yet, you need to. So this is Versamark is a tacky ink pad, and anything that sticks to it, anything like powdery, which is what we're going to put on next, will stick to it. And then we heat set it and it becomes beautiful and glossy. Right. And I don't use fancy tools for this. I'm still just using a folded piece of paper. So if you are still, you know, stocking up on your supplies, I just use paper. But you do need a heat tool. You can use a toaster if you are starting out, but if you've got one of the toasters like my toaster, then you can't push the button down unless you've actually got bread in there. So, and I'm just going to grab a pair of tweezers so I don't melt my fingernails. Beautiful. Alcohol. Swipe an alcohol towel on my stamp and it will stick again. Yeah, the ones that I use over and over and over again, and because I think this one just gets I do, it's funny because some people know me so well. We were doing a carnival. Deb probably was the one who said it, and I said, oh, I need to get my supplies out because it was my turn to start teaching, and she said, oh, you'll be getting your embossing stuff out. So yes, I think I do emboss in nearly every look, that one's lost its stick too. I think I emboss nearly all of my sentiments. It's very rare that I don't. Okay, let's get this trimmed. So you can either fussy cut this if you want. I'm just going to trim it to start with and see how we go. But you can, I would leave the bottom flat and then just fussy cut around the edges. But let's see what it looks like in that form. I might do a bit of an angle on the side, and then if you've got grid lines on your trimmers, the first angle doesn't matter, cut at whatever angle you like, and then second angle, line up the straight with one of the straight guides on whatever trimmer you're using, and then cut again, and then your two angles are identical. And then we can pop that down the bottom. If you find that that is too big for you, because now I'm going to be covering up some of my, you know, I've left that as a gap on purpose, and now I'm going to be covering it up. But if I did it down there, so if you didn't want as much blue, let's do it. You can actually see a bit more of your image. So let's come around. I'm going to swing around that corner now. So now that I've showed you how to cut it straight, I'm changing it. All right, and then we just sort of weave backwards and forwards, up and down. Try to keep a little bit of distance. Sometimes it's a bit tricky. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm on a really good roll, and then you get too close to the embossing or to your line. You're like, oh. So just sort of weave up and down. Hold your tongue in the right position. Come round. All right, so as I mentioned, I currently have a paper share open if you're in Australia. So paper shares are open, and then I also have the Stamp by Mail, which is going to be featuring this suite, or actually there's going to be 2 stamp sets in this one. I've got another one coming. It hasn't arrived yet. I'm hoping that it'll arrive very soon, and it's just all like script backgrounds, which I thought would be really cool with this one. There's actually another stamp set that goes with this one in the suite, and it has all sentiments. So you could use that if you wanted to as well. I should have left it out, actually. I completely forgot about it until just now. So there we go. Now I can have a bit of my pink showing, which is what I was sort of after. So now I've got a little bit more of my image that I can see, and a little bit less than that. All right, so now what I need to do is I'm going to have that flat against my image, and I'm going to pop a dimensional behind here to keep it all nice and flat. Give this a bit of a thing, and then I might have a look in, because I haven't unpacked my order yet. It's been sitting there for a little bit. All right, get you going. And we can pop you up. So for your embellishments, like I said, you can just cut out some extra ladybugs if you want. They look really cool. I would just color them in, stamp them in black and color them in just dark calypso coral, and then you can just pop them around in the leafy areas, and they look really cool. But I do believe, just hang on with me for 2 seconds, because I do believe I can find amongst all of this stuff what there was. There they are. Might as well get this while I'm here. These labels. So this is the stamp. It's like got 2 stamp sets for it. This is the mixed labels that you can get with it. And it's got another little image that matches. So you've got all different sentiments. And then this one has dies as well. So, but I am going to include a different stamp set with Stamp by Mail. So this one has the big frame that goes around, and then it has got some other cute little frames and a little leafy image, a little texture image. So die, I should say, they're not images, are they? So that's pretty cool. And then there's these embellishments that come with it. This is the folder that comes with it, which is called Plaster Painting. So could have used that in the background instead of screwing it up. But we have got some of these embellishments, and they are like a pink and a gold. So maybe I'll use the gold. Oh, the pink one looks nice. Oh, the gold looks nice too. Okay, you guys input. I haven't asked you guys to input anything. So pink or gold should I put? Decisions, decisions. Pink or gold? It's a bit hard to tell when I do that, isn't it? Pink or gold? I don't know that there's a bit of a delay, so I'll pop this back in the way I like to do my packaging. I like my opening to be at the bottom. I always turn my packaging around the other way so I can easy access. You know, you'd think that that would go better that way. Gold, says Wendy. My scissors out. So yeah, so here's the other image that I've colored in that goes with it as well. So to make 2 more cards out of these guys. Pink, 2 pinks, 1 gold. Very pretty, very pretty. I've done a little bit of stippling on this one, which is just like dotting. Pink, 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 pink's winning. Yeah, the color combination is beautiful. I was like had card out everywhere thinking which colors am I going to use, but I do like was I going to use Flirty Flamingo or this one, but I do love Calypso Coral and okay, pink's the winner. I do love Calypso Coral and Petal Pink together, so we'll just pop a few of these guys down. I might just pop one down over here as well. You can go to your heart's content and put as many as you want down there. Let's just go for 3 to start with, because I do have to, these have to last me for the next 4 months of cards. So there we go. Okay, that is it. So, one thing I did do, which is totally optional, is that I put a little bit of Wink of Stella on my flowers as well yesterday. So whether you feel that you need to do that or not is totally up to you. But I like the little bit of vellum in the background, a little bit of crinkle going on. Probably flattened it a little bit too much, but I had to get it stuck down. But you can still see the torn edges and that. So, and then of course the straight edges, and then a little bit of fussy cutting. So we've got lots going on without having to put a lot into it, if you know what I mean. So Nicole says she turns her packaging the other way. I do it, yeah, with everything. So it's just easy access. It just makes sense, and you sort of think, why don't they think of that when they, you know, the manufacturers, obviously they're not crafters. I don't know. So there we go. Do I ever use a mixture of colors in the embellishments? You know, I don't. That is, yeah, I don't think I've ever done a mixture of colors with my embellishments. I'm really boring like that. I should try, shouldn't I? I should try doing a mix of things. Yeah, I don't know. And I always do 3. I don't know. I need to break away from my habits. I don't know. I guess you'd call them habits. I don't know. Need to break away from that. Okay, so I'm just going to bring back me for a second. Yeah, sorry about that. So this is it. I am going to be finishing my lives. My husband goes, "You should go live every day until Christmas," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think so." So he's like, "No, I'm serious," and I'm like, "Yes, so am I." But I will be back. Last day for work for my youngest son and last day of work for my hubby. So, and they go back to work on the 6th of January, which I think is a Monday. So I will start getting back into my lives. I'm hopefully going to start doing a Tuesday morning and a Thursday morning though. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. So stick to what I know, right? So I'm hoping to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, and when I do come back, it'll be just in time for celebration as well. So, but if you are on my newsletter list, don't forget to please look out for the email that is coming. You just have to click whether yes, you're a demonstrator, and yes, do you live in Australia? So that's pretty easy. And if you're not on my newsletter, alisatilsner.com, right there, and you can subscribe to my newsletter there. Paper share is open, Stamp by Mail is open, and of course I will have the usual monthly membership card, which I'm doing with the Delightful Wishes, so the one that's all yellow and blues and really pretty. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time and your support over the whole year. I really do appreciate you tuning in to watch me, and sometimes I wonder why, but well, I appreciate you joining in. So thank you very much for that. And have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year. I will still be around on Facebook. That I won't be going anywhere. We're staying home for the holidays. So I will see you over there, and take care, everyone, and we'll see you next year. It feels weird saying that. Merry Christmas.